Hey everybody, it's Megan and welcome back to Saturday Storytime. For today's Saturday Storytime, I'm going to tell you guys the story of how we got to having Liam. I have done our dating story, meeting dating story, our engagement story, our wedding story, and now we are on to having babies. So if you are new to my channel, I have an almost 3-year-old, It's so hard to wrap my brain around that. Liam will be 3 in December. He is December 27th is when he was born. So I'm going to share how, after being married, how we got from being married to having Liam. Now, I have known that I wanted to be a mom for absolutely ever. That is the thing that I knew I was meant to be. I have little brothers and sisters that are quite younger than me, so I helped practically raise a few of them because I was just there 24/7. And I was pretty much ready the moment we got married, but I knew that my husband wasn't completely ready for that. I don't think he would have ever been ready. If I had just waited on him, it would have never happened. So I was the one who kind of said, let's start having a baby. And he kind of just went along with it. Obviously, if he really didn't want to, he would have told me that. But about 5 months after getting married, so we got married in October, I am a big planner. I was not planned. None of my brothers and sisters were planned really. So I wanted to make sure that I planned when I was going to have this baby. Now, obviously, I knew that babies come when they want and you can't really plan it. I had no idea if I would get pregnant right away or if it would take a while. So I thought, let's just start trying and see what happens. So I waited. I was like, let's have a December baby. That should be good. So it was about 5 months after getting married that we technically started trying. But my type of trying wasn't taking ovulation tests and finding out the rhythm of my body, because I knew how my body worked. I knew I was exactly every 28 days, down to the hour it felt like. And I was on birth control pills. So that does mess up your system, but you do kind of snap back. At least most people snap back almost right away. So I stopped taking birth control and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get pregnant right away. And the first month came and I got my period. I felt defeated, which is so crazy to think about right now, but I felt defeated that I didn't get pregnant right away because almost everyone in my family accidentally got pregnant. So what's wrong with me? There was absolutely nothing wrong. It just, my body needed a little bit more time to kind of get ready for baby, which now looking back was totally fine. But yes, so I had my period. I got over the whole idea and I was like, okay, let's try again. Let's really try this time. Once again, I didn't take ovulation tests. I just was like, let's just be like bunnies and try to get pregnant. So the month of April happened, and that was when we got pregnant. Now I tried, after doing the deed, I would put my legs up, I would try to tilt my hips. I read everything Google told you to do to help you get pregnant. I did it. And sure enough, it worked. So the end of May happened, and that is when my period was supposed to start. Well, I kind of had this feeling that I was pregnant. So I believe it was the day my period was supposed to happen, I took a test and I did it, I think first thing in the morning. It might've been kind of a little bit later in the day. And I saw an extra little line. It was barely there. And I was so excited, so crazy excited. I remember standing in the bathroom. Wayne was out in getting ready for work or something, and I didn't want him to know. So I was jumping up and down. And then I was like, okay, well, I'll go and I'll get the ones that say pregnant or not pregnant. So I went to the store during the day, got that while Wayne was at work, and I took it and I'm waiting for it, and it came up immediately, pregnant. I was over the moon. I was so excited. And to tell Wayne, there's no way of waiting. I could not have waited. So I went to the store, I got some baby clothes. I was just so crazy excited. And I set up our kitchen table with a bunch of different things, baby things. We had actually been collecting baby things for some reason since we got married. And even my grandpa got us a car seat that one of his friends was getting rid of because he knew we were gonna have kids. And it was a pink car seat, and my husband swears that jinxed us, so we got boys instead. But yeah, I set up this whole little setup on the kitchen table, and it said, I did like a poster that said, "Can't wait to meet you, Daddy." And of course, I looked into when the baby would probably be due, and it was in January. You can Google anything, it's crazy. So I had that all set up, and I set up my phone in the kitchen so that, because we had like a kitchen and a dining room, and then the front door was like back this way. And so I set up my phone for when he came home, and it was hilarious. He walked in and he's kind of looking at me like, "Why are you just standing there?" And he had the mail, and he put the mail down, and he's like looking and trying to figure out what's going on. And I was like, "Read it." And then he starts like opening the mail. I'm like, "What are you doing? Don't open the mail." And so he finally figured out what was going on. And you could tell the look on his face was like scared but excited. And he knew I was so crazy excited. And immediately I wanted to go get an ultrasound. I wanted to just do everything baby. It was the first time, so I was so crazy excited. And we were able to go somewhere and get an ultrasound, but Wayne couldn't come with me because he was at work. So my mom went with me, and I got to see Liam for the first time, got to hear his heartbeat. I mean, he was just like a little bean at that time. And I remember them telling me like where my placenta was. And I had Googled how to tell if it's a boy or a girl from the beginning. And they told me different things, and I was like, "It's a boy." Like, I knew immediately it was a boy. And then like a couple weeks into the pregnancy, I had a dream that it was a boy. And so I was convinced from the start, nobody else was. Everyone thought it was a girl because girls are born first in our family. But I knew right away. And my pregnancy with Liam was like picture perfect. Nothing went wrong. There was no scares whatsoever. The only thing with him is that my placenta was right in front. So I believe that is anterior. And I couldn't feel him. It took forever to feel him move. I went to every doctor's appointment, like the once a month, and they could get his heartbeat right away. They could find him every single time, but I couldn't feel him, and it was because of where my placenta was. So that was kind of a bummer. And then a couple months before he was born, I didn't feel him. Then at this point, he should have been like, I could have really felt him. And there was a weekend where I only felt him move maybe once. I would get my like kick counts in at that point, but it wasn't like crazy active movement. So that was really the only scare for me, but I would get my kick counts the way that I was supposed to. So I knew he was fine. He just didn't move very much. So that was kind of a bummer. I also didn't show until quite later on in my pregnancy. So being a first time mom, like I wanted to show right away. Like I wanted everyone to know I was pregnant, and like we did the 3D ultrasound, we did everything. We had the big baby shower, and we did, I didn't do maternity pictures. I was going to plan that. Like we did, a friend took some pictures of me, and then my husband would take like monthly pictures of me, but I didn't do the big photo shoot, which I'm kind of bummed out about, but yeah, that was a long time ago now. So yeah, so we went through everything we were supposed to. We did a couple classes. I didn't do Lamaze because I was told by so many people that it doesn't really work. You somehow get the baby out, which I knew that was gonna happen. And I was not scared about anything. I was not paranoid. I did not do like too much research. I even had like the baby books, and I didn't read them because I was like, I know what I'm doing. This is no big deal. This whole pregnancy thing, no big deal. I was very sick at the beginning, but I was able to get through it, and I hit like 13 weeks, and then I was fine. So I didn't have any more sickness throughout. I didn't get any real cravings. I wanted water. That is pretty much all that I wanted, was ice cold water. And somehow I still gained a good 40 plus pounds. I was huge at the end. And since he was born right after Christmas, he wasn't due until January 13th or 16th, one of those. My date was different than the doctor's date. But he came December 27th, 2014. He wasn't due until a whole 3 weeks later. He decided to break his bag of water, is what I say, because I lifted up a suitcase, which wasn't very heavy, and I felt my water break. And I have his birth story. I will put it down below and up in the cards. I did the video a long time ago, so I probably could redo that video better. But yeah, that is every explanation of how he came into the world. But yes, he came way too early for us. We were not ready for him, but he was healthy. He was completely healthy. He came after 20 hours and lots of pain later. And we absolutely loved him from the start. He did not take to breastfeeding well at all. So I breastfed him maybe like once or twice. And then I was like, this is too painful. And there's a lot of circumstances that go along with it, but it just didn't work out. So he was bottle fed from the start, and he has been the healthiest kid ever. He has had croup once because I gave it to him when I was pregnant with Nolan, so that was last year. And he has had maybe a cold, if that, because he's interesting. He gets like stuffed up and runny noses, but he's never needed any antibiotics. I mean, knock on wood, he has never needed anything like that. He just takes anything over the counter and he's done with it. And he doesn't even act sick. Even when he had croup, he was only sick at night. During the day, you would have had no idea that anything was wrong with him. He is such a stubborn kid that our Liam gives us a run for our money literally every minute of every single day if he is not asleep. Now, I will say that he has been a really good sleeper for the majority of his life. He does get the sleep regressions. You can look that up because those things are for real and they hit Liam hard. But teething was no big deal. Eating was no big deal. Travel was really no big deal with him. He will actually sit there, he'll watch a show, he'll sit there, he'll play. But then other than that, he fights you on literally everything. He's very stubborn, he's very passionate, which will work work for him in the future. But right now, he makes me want to pull my hair out most of the time. But I love him. He's my baby. He made me a mom. And yeah, that's how we got from being married. 6 months later, we were pregnant. And then 9 months later, Mr. Liam came into our world, changed it 100%. But we cannot imagine our life without our little boy. He is going to be 3 in December. And I can't believe that I have a 3-year-old. It just goes by so fast. Like they say, the days are really slow. And some days are much slower than others. But the years, they're going like that. They go by so quick. It is absolutely bonkers. And you won't understand any of that until you have a kid. And right now he is outside yelling for me, so I'm going to go to him. I really hope you guys enjoyed this little story about Liam. If you have absolutely any questions about Liam, leave those down below. I will be doing a 3-year update for him coming up soon. And then next week is going to be the journey to Nolan, because that was a little bit more difficult. I hope you guys enjoyed these Story Saturdays. Leave me suggestions down below. Give this video a big thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.